This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society.
Aloha, y'all. This is Daniel Eisenman, the host of the Breaking Normal podcast, where my guests are all invited based on the frequency of synchronicity, all done in person, and all trailblazers in the breaking of all things normal. We're on the Breaking Normal podcast again.
We are on
June 3rd, and we're here with Stephen Jaggers.
Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm stoked to be here with you. You just got into Boulder yesterday, the day after my birthday.
Just landed yesterday. I was in Denver for 2 days working the Outside Festival with Vivo Barefoot. You got the Vivos on? There you go. Yeah, they're good friends of mine. Ran into them in Austin, and then synchronistically when I landed, I went to lunch and I ran into one of the reps, and they're like, "Cool, we're doing Outside Fest. Do you want to come by the booth?" So they had me in Vivos. I was skateboarding a mini ramp in barefoot shoes, which I don't recommend, but the pressure was on.
Do they have a skating shoe?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But I'm trying to convince them.
I saw this on your story yesterday. Were you doing you were doing a little ramp and
mini ramp? Yeah.
So you know what you're doing a little bit on a skateboard then.
Yeah, that was my childhood, was skateboarding. I kind of had a paradox because I played basketball as well, but I also was a skater. It's kind of a dual image there. Like, usually skateboarders aren't necessarily team sports type people, but yeah, skateboarding was a massive, massive influence for me, and I'm very thankful for it.
Wow. Okay. All right, man. So you came in from Austin, where I used to live.
Correct.
You're gonna have to tell me, how do we know each other? Let's see if it lines up with what I might remember.
I think we met each other at Munn's in Sedona at the creek, or maybe somewhere in Sedona. I was living there at the time.
Yeah, somewhere, because that first word is almost like taboo to say out loud.
Public. Oh yeah,
but it's okay.
They don't even know. I mean, people don't. You can't research it. Right?
Yeah. If my friend Ryder's listening, that's the spot that I was trying to tell you about.
Yeah.
But not tell you about.
One of the most magical places in the world. Just naked, lizarding on the red rock, jump in spring water, and you won't find it, so don't go looking for it.
You know, I interviewed there that you might know, at the house we were staying at with this grass roof surrounded by like emus, peacocks.
Oh yeah, Purple Apple Farms.
Yeah, we were right there.
Yeah.
Was Prangi.
Oh yeah, Prangi's an incredible human.
And a few other people I think you know. Oh man,
Anahata. Yeah.
Yep.
The whole Sedona crew.
Melissa Hennig. Yeah, I'm not sure. She's a little bit of a different crowd.
Yeah, I don't remember her.
So we met there at
I'm pretty
that spot
sure
synchronously. That's some
synchronistic.
I thought it was in Sedona. Yeah. I wasn't sure though.
Yeah, I lived there for 3 years, 2018 through part of 2020.
Which part did you live in?
I lived in Upper Red Rock Loop, down by like in front of Cathedral Rock. I don't know if you ever went to Buddha Beach.
Yeah. So you have this thing that what I might have as well, is like living in epic spots in the world. You lived in Sedona, you lived in Austin, and you were living in Austin, but you're visiting Boulder. Where, any other spots?
I'm homeless right now. I just put all my stuff in storage. I'm gonna bounce around for a little bit.
But did I see a dog? Do you have a dog?
I do not.
That is
my best friend's dog.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Nadim's dog. He's the CEO of Somatic, and
of the company. Your company?
Yeah.
Okay, and your company's name is
Somatic Breathwork.
Okay, we're gonna get to that.
It's Soma, SOMA plus IQ. So it reads like somatic. The plus looks like a T.
But the URL is this, or is this?
No, it's just somaticbreathwork.com.
All right, that's the URL, somaticbreathwork.com. Okay.
But the name of the business is Soma plus IQ, which the plus looks like a T. So it's Soma means body. IQ is obviously intelligence. So we're a body-based intelligence company, helping people reconnect, get out of the overwhelm of their mind and connect back to their body.
What's Nadim's last name?
Nadim Al Hassan.
Al Hassan. I don't think I know him.
Yeah, I don't think you.
Does he live in Austin?
He lives in Austin as well. He came from Arizona.
How did y'all know each other?
So I was swinging a mace. You know what a mace is?
Yeah, that's something I have not done, and it looks like you're pretty proficient in it.
Yeah, I used to teach
I would like
mace.
to learn more.
I have some maces.
You do? Okay,
Let's
great.
go.
Great.
So I was, I used to hike every day in Sedona, and I would take my mace with me, and I would kind of flow on the top of the mountains. That was like my meditation. And I was posting some stuff on Instagram, and he reached out to me, and he is really proficient in the mace too. So we were like, hey, are we going to be best friends? And at the time, he was running a pretty big cannabis edible company in Arizona.
What's the name of that one?
It's called Baked Bros.
Baked Bros.
Baked Bros.
Baked Bros. Because I know some guys from Austin, Bearded Brothers.
Bearded Brothers.
They make the food bar.
Okay, yeah, this was in Phoenix.
I know.
Arizona
I was just like,
yeah.
So
yeah.
Baked Bros. I just like the name. Is that company still exist?
It does still exist. I think he sold his shares. He kind of wanted out of the cannabis industry, but he's just an incredible. He's like the opposite of me. He's a systems guy. He runs automations. He builds all of my back end stuff. He's an absolute incredible CEO and just the most kind-hearted man of God that I know. Nadeem, if you're listening, I love you, and I'm so thankful for you because he allows me to stay in my zone of genius.
There's a book about this, like a visionary and integrated
rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel, man.
Yeah,
so
by
you found
Gino Wickman. I found my integrator.
What I want to do that.
Yeah, dude, it's been the biggest, it's been the most helpful thing for me.
Rocket Fuel is a great book, and whatever it did to me, it made me think that I'm a visionary and I'm looking for my Nadeem.
Yeah, everyone needs a Nadeem. Everyone needs an integrator because, you need somebody who you never want to go into business with somebody that has the same skill sets as you.
Yeah, that's so cool. Y'all are the opposites.
We're opposites. It allows me to stay in the teaching role, in the content role, building curriculum, being the face of the brand, doing, workshops, webinars, like speaking. And then he, on the other hand, has built out the whole back end thing, our community, our courses, our email funnels. Like he loves it. And awesome. I go cross-eyed when I start doing that stuff.
Awesome. I love hearing that. And Nadeem, I trust I'll get to meet you as well. When was Somatic breathwork started?
So I held my first training in 2021.
Okay.
Kind of a little bit after COVID. At the time I was doing body work. I was a neuromuscular therapist. That's my background. I was working in Sedona as a body worker. And then I was also teaching during the week in Tempe at Southwest Institute of Healing Arts.
Oh, wow.
So I was teaching like anatomy and kinesiology, and that school also, they taught a lot of Eastern forms of body work like polarity therapy and craniosacral therapy and more of the energetic stuff. So
did you get involved with craniosacral?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
cool.
fully certified upledger craniosacral therapist.
Okay. Wow.
So that was a majority of my background as a body worker. And then I was volunteering for MAPS, the psychedelic multidisciplinary association for psychedelic studies.
Isn't there a big conference coming up here in Denver?
There is a massive conference coming up.
Are you going to that one?
I think so. I went to the last one 2 years ago. It was massive, 10,000 people. But I went to the one in 2017, and that was like a turning point for my life. It was in Oakland, California. This was right before I moved to the Big Island. I lived on the Big Island for a year.
That's where I'm going.
Oh yeah,
in 10 days.
Yeah, I was right south of Kona.
I'm going to the Hilo Mauna Kea side.
Okay, you're going to Hilo side?
Yeah.
I didn't spend as much time there, but if you're in Kona, there's a beach a little bit south of there called Two Step. Mm-hmm. You can go swim with dolphins almost every morning.
That's near Captain Cook.
It's near Captain Cook, exactly.
Yeah, I intend on two-stepping it there with my daughter.
Two-step it over there.
The two of our two hearts. Anyways, go ahead, please.
But yeah, so in 2017, I was tempted to go back to school to become a psychedelic therapist because it was, it's been very powerful for me. But hey, you should go to this breathwork session by a man named Stan Groff, who's the father of holotropic breathwork. And I went to it. And I was like, okay, let's try this and see what it's like. And I ended up having probably one of the most profound experiences of my life, and no psychedelic substances, just breathing for 2 to 3 hours. And I, beyond any sort of therapy, acupuncture, body work, EMDR, all of these different things that I had gone through, or that I had, gone down the route for my own healing. I'm an only child. My parents were meth addicts. I grew up in a very chaotic, dysregulated household. But during that session, I was about 30 minutes in, and I was breathing heavily, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to feel weird. And I just experienced this pop in my thoracic spine, and immediately I was flooded with just visions of my childhood, and I started feeling anger, and then sadness, and like anger towards my parents, and why couldn't they get their shit together, and then sadness for just how much pain they were in, and then grief, and then I started feeling like forgiveness, and like I went through the full range. It almost like washed me of my full emotional spectrum. And like after that process, I went through this like clearing, and then I became so fucking clear. And I had been doing body work and teaching body work for about 8 years at that point, at the college in Arizona. And I realized like, wow, I'm a breath worker first, before I'm a body worker, because I was teaching MACE and corrective exercise. I was coaching. Before I'm a teacher, I'm a breath worker, because if people are holding their breath, they probably don't even realize it, but your nervous system's in a contracted state. You're in a defensive state. And so if you've ever tried to like coach someone through something and they're holding their breath, or you're working on someone's body and they're holding their breath, or you're even like trying to coach someone through something and they're holding their breath, then whatever you're doing actually isn't landing, because they're not receptive. Their system's in a defensive state, and they're blocking everything that you're trying to do with them. So I had that moment, and I'm like, wow, okay, I've been attuning to people's breath as a body worker for a long time. Let's actually study and dive deep into breath work. And there's a lot of different forms of breath work out there, ancient ones, newer spin-offs of different types of breath work. And there's a lot of dogma in the breath work space of like, this is the way you should do it, and this is if you don't do it this way. And so I just kind of looked at all of them and studied all of them, and just started utilizing breath work in my body work sessions, in my coaching sessions with people, and whatever I was doing with them afterwards, whether it was, coaching, or whether it was corrective exercise, or whether it was like, some of the more energetic body work, all of it started to land deeper, and people would have more profound experiences, breakthroughs from the breath work than me sitting there working on them and forcefully trying to like use my energy to help them with some sort of breakthrough. So I started combining breath work with like guided verbal processing with some of the body work techniques. And I was doing that for, about 1.5 years. And then COVID hit, shut everything down. Couldn't do hands-on touch stuff with people anymore. Started doing just breath work with my clients via Zoom. And I had a woman who was a therapist, and she was like, hey, can you teach me how to do this with my clients? So I'm like, oh shit, I know how to make a lesson plan and a curriculum and all of those things. And so I put together a little lesson plan, a curriculum. I texted all of my clients, almost everybody in my phone book, and told them I was going to hold a little training it was 5 people out of my apartment. And actually at this point it was in Phoenix, but I held my first training January of 2021. And now we've trained over 2,500 people worldwide in 38 different countries. We're fully accredited, college level university credit from Arizona State University.
You get someone can get college credit?
You can get college level credit by taking our course.
Wow.
You can get CEUs
I highly recommend it. I haven't
I
taken
mean,
it. I rarely recommend something I haven't taken, but breathwork has been a major part of my life ever since I tapped into it.
Yeah.
It's like the most consistent ritual of my life.
It's effective.
And like I've even had like a sprinter on here. Someone just asked me for an amazing body worker in Boulder. Are you taking on? That was you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to
to get work done on you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So maybe I wonder if Josh, but I think Josh is the one that told me this when I told him I was going to aim to race my girlfriend at the time in a sprint. What's the very best thing I can do to prepare?
Yeah.
And he was like, the way I heard it was honestly breath work.
Yeah.
Like if you have that little time, don't injure yourself and do breath work.
Yeah.
And he was talking about because all these like micro muscles that are necessary to sprint as fast as possible. If you can do like deep ventilation breath work, that it helps connect them. It helps get that connected. And without that, it's going to be hard to sprint.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's the way that I teach it is almost like range of motion. Like if you're working on your body and, you know, you're working on your mobility, your flexibility, or you're working on your range of motion, which the same thing with your breath. If you can work on range of motion, and most people have probably heard of belly breathing, but your diaphragm is like, it expands in 360 degrees. And so if you can work on your like end range of motion, pulling the breath all the way down as possible, and then expanding in 360 degrees, because most people, they don't even have access to their belly. But when they get access to their belly, now you have to start working to like the intercostals and all the little muscles in their ribs. And then can you actually expand your chest? And it's a powerful self-exploration practice. And it could be used for performance, stress release. It's so accessible. Like that's the thing that I think why it's so powerful is because anybody can do it anywhere. It doesn't cost any money.
And it's the thing that we can go the shortest time without.
Yeah.
You know, we can last how many ever days without water.
It's like 3 minutes or something.
And how many ever
3 days
without food. I've heard 40 plus.
Yeah.
Breath. I've held my breath for 5 minutes twice.
Amazing.
But that took a lot of breath work prior.
Yeah.
And I've also surfed quite a bit. And holding your breath after sprinting in the water and then getting pounded without catching it, 30 seconds could be harder than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I am so on board with someone finding a breath practice that they can do consistently.
Yeah.
And mine involve. I'm very curious about. Do you have like a go-to ritual? Mine's basically what most people would like see as like the Wim Hof one. I also do a breath of like a exhale
like
thing.
Kundalini
Kundalini type afterwards. But my main like almost non-negotiable that I try to keep consistent is and I've probably done that like 99% of days for the last 11 years. Is like the Wim Hof type. I do 33 deep breaths, hold my breath for over 2 minutes. Yeah. 33 deep breaths, hold my breath for over 2 minutes. 33 deep breaths, hold my breath for over 2 minutes. But I pray that last one. And because I'm in a zone that's different. I'm in a different zone. I feel like it's a zone that's more conducive to powerful prayer. Yeah. And I love doing it in the sun. I love the creek. Things. But that's like been mine. Do you have a go-to for yourself, especially like if you're traveling? Because like you said you're homeless. You said you're homeless, and I used to travel for like 11 years. And people ask me, like, one of my main ways of doing that was I felt at home if I could breathe wherever I was at, like, and do this ritual.
Absolutely, yeah. So my daily practice is similar to that. It's like a modified Wim Hof. I'll do those 30 deep breaths, or you could do 30, or if you want to go for 3 minutes, usually I'll put on a track, like a 3 minute long track. That way I'm not having to like count in my mind.
Okay, so you're breathing for 3 minutes.
Yeah, like deep. 3 minutes, like deep breaths.
That's interesting. So that's just timing instead of the quantity.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way it feels more body based for me instead of like kind of counting in my mind. That's just helped me. So I'll do those deep breaths in and out of the mouth, Wim Hof style. And what's happening is you're kind of you're spiking your nervous system. A lot of people don't realize that you're mimicking a stress response during that. Yep. Then I'll do that breath hold. I'll hold at the top. And I'll kind of connect to whatever my intention is for the day. And then the second round, I'll switch it and I'll go in and out through the nose, and then I'll start to elongate my exhale.
So only nose.
Only nose. And then I'll like start to elongate my exhale. Or you could do multiple rounds of this, but I like, since I'm spiking my nervous system with that Wim Hof style, deep in and out of the mouth, breath hold, I like to switch in through the nose and out through the nose and elongating my exhale, because that'll send your nervous system into a relaxed state. And I look at it almost like it's like a expansion and contraction of your muscles. And when you're doing the same thing for your nervous system, it's like that range of motion where if I spike it, do a breath hold. Now let me try to breathe as less as possible in and out through the nose, elongate my exhale, send myself into the deepest relaxed state possible. And then I'll do one more breath hold and I'll hold on the exhale.
Okay.
And then after that.
So the first one you held on the inhale.
Hold on the inhale.
And the second one you're holding on the exhale.
And then the second one I'm holding on the exhale.
Okay.
Because then what happens is that will send me into like a meditative state.
Okay.
And so for those that have a hard time meditating, which most of us do, like breath work for me sends me into a meditative state. So then that'll lead into my meditation. And the reason why I do the breath hold at the top after the first round is because, and then I do the breath hold at the bottom at the second round, is because if you understand this like basic rule of thumb, then you'll understand whatever breathwork practice you're doing, you'll understand what it's trying to do in your body. So if you elongate your inhales, like if we take a deep breath in and we hold it, you are activating your system. So you're taking yourself into a sympathetic state, you're upregulating. And then if you let all your air out and you hold it out, then you're going to take yourself into a parasympathetic state or a relaxation state. So when you elongate your inhales, you activate your state. When you elongate your exhales, you send yourself into a relaxed state. So like you can go in through the left nostril, right nostril. You can squeeze your sphincter. You can,
that one too.
Hold the perineum really tight. You can hold it until Tuesday and then exhale. Like all those practices are great. But if you just understand that basic rule, then you can play with all the different types. I like simplicity.
No, well, what I was thinking when you were explaining that was how this seems like the most simple thing I've ever talked about on the podcast.
Yeah.
And arguably the most important.
Yeah. Breath is fascinating, man. And I'm a natural skeptic, I would say. Like I never thought breath work would be the thing that I was going to be teaching or bringing to the world, but it is the only body rhythm that you are doing consciously, and also you can just do it unconsciously. Like we don't have to think about it, and we're going to continue to breathe, or we can stop and take a moment and breathe. So it's the thing that's the bridge between your unconscious or subconscious and your conscious. Like it is the thing that it's like a toggle switch. Like we can't always change the external world and all the things that are happening, but we can change our response to it inside of us. Like if we were taught this in school, that you can change your internal state at any time and you have a toggle switch inside of you that you can actually have choice around, I think we'd live in a different world. Maybe.
Well, now I'm thinking about two people that I know. And I think they've both been on the podcast, and one of them has not, but one of them has. Tara Sheehan, I believe it's called. Nose Breathing Bison Shaman Demolishing the Devil's Rope with Tara Sheehan. And her belief is that if we all learned how to breathe through our nose, we would all be enlightened. Like I'm like, that's a radical. And she's pretty radical, but that's what she said. I think that's what I remember her saying. And then the craziest thing is I was on the Big Island. I believe it was the Big Island, and I don't know this person's name. These are one of these types that's probably not on podcast, but like everyone would dream of interviewing him one day. Yeah. And this was real radical, but he was saying that, the only reason that person got hurt was they didn't breathe out on impact. This guy was trying, if I understood what he was saying you can almost survive any impact if you breathe out on it.
When you're exhaling, you're relaxing your body. So that would make sense that you're like, when you're on impact, if you are breathing out, and I wouldn't try it at home. Don't go jump off some fucking roof
well, you
or
could
something.
try for surfing. I think he was a surfer as well. He's like, oh yeah, just breathe out on that impact.
Yeah.
But he was talking about for car accidents. He was an extreme guy.
Yeah. I mean, when something, we could get into trauma and stress and all of that, but when something stressful is happening to you, most of us, we like take a deep inhale and we hold and we tighten versus when we exhale, we're telling our system that we're safe, and we're telling our nervous system that it's okay to relax, to let go. And the nose thing is fascinating. And I agree with her that you should be breathing through your nose most of the time, probably all the time, because your nose is a filtration system. Like if we didn't have a nose, then it would make sense to breathe through in and out of our mouth. But your nose it's going to naturally elongate your breath. And when you elongate your breath, you stay in a relaxed state. The reason why, like with Wim Hof or some of these other like holotropic breath work, which is people don't realize, but you're creating what's considered an NDE, which is a near-death experience. Like if I was being chased by a tiger, like how would I be breathing? It's like you're mimicking a trauma response. You're mimicking a stress state. So when people are breathing in and out of their mouth, they're keeping their body in a stress state. And a lot of people are mouth breathers. They don't even realize it. So they're sending a signal to their system that they might be in their house or whatever, but their body feels like it's being chased by a tiger, which can be beneficial though. Like with Wim Hof, I forget the term. It's like hormetic stress.
Yeah, especially when it's like purposely
induced. When it's purposely induced, and you could take it even further, like for trauma release and for emotional release. A lot of people don't realize, and breath work is kind of the wild, wild west. There's no like governing body. There's a lot of people that are out there holding sessions that are getting people to breathe as heavy as possible for a very long time. But they don't actually realize that you're mimicking a state of trauma in these people's bodies, which can be powerful if you are a well-trained practitioner and know how to help someone come back to a state of safety. And what's happening is if someone's breathing heavily for an extended period of time and they're in a group or they're in a safe place with a practitioner, you're mimicking that trauma state, which gives your organism an opportunity to discharge, to release whatever you needed to do in the moment of the stressor, but you never did because when that stressful thing happened, you just breathed in and squeezed your sphincter, and then you're stuck in this state of contraction, right? So a lot of people are in that state. And so during a breathwork session, it can be powerful to mimic that trauma response, to give your body another opportunity to discharge. That's why you see a lot of people have emotional releases, or they're moving their body in crazy different ways, or it looks like some sort of sorcery that's going on. It's just your body is completing whatever necessary action it needed to do. That could be physically, emotionally, could be mentally. Some people relive the story. But the completion part of it is the signal to your nervous system that the threat has been solved, that you're not in the presence of a stressor anymore. And it can be powerful, but just as I explained with that daily practice, where through the second half, where I start to elongate my exhale, if you're spiking someone's nervous system and you're taking someone into that powerful release, you need to spend just as much time on the other side, retraining them to go in and out through the nose, and to really spend enough time like relaxing their state back into a place of safety.
Yeah, I can relate to so much of this in so many different ways. I mean, first of all, let's talk about, you said sorcery, how it can look like sorcery. I've also been at events and experiences where people, maybe it's like a type of chiropractic, even from a guy local. Yeah,
spinal energetics.
And it looks like they're giving, like the girl's having an orgasm, and he's not touching her. Yeah. What are you familiar with what's going on here?
I have a lot of friends that love it, and I've actually never experienced it.
But have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Okay.
Yes, I have seen it. And I have seen that type of stuff happen in sessions before. I'll say that I am a skeptic, and I can't necessarily talk about it because I haven't received it fully yet.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this idea of unwinding, which is your nervous system. Let me see if I have another way to explain this. Have you ever heard of the term parasitic tension?
Parasitic?
Parasitic tension.
No, I don't think I've heard that phrase.
It's a body work. It's like, I think it was coined by Ida Rolf. And she's a very physical body work, aligning your physical body, but
hence Rolfing.
Yeah, Rolfing. Okay. So all of us have somewhat of parasitic tension, and you could explain this in a way of like, so to flex your bicep, flex that bicep for me right there. Show it off right there. Yeah. So
I can do my left one.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that bicep.
What's the best angle? I haven't looked at my bicep like that. It's a pretty good looking bicep.
It looks good, dude.
I'm trying to think if I have it. No, I like it. I love it.
So it takes, it's not just your muscles that are contracting, it takes nervous system energy. So it's like you are sending a signal from your central nervous system electrically to your bicep to flex that muscle to contract it. What happens is, do you have tension in your neck and shoulders, or like, do you have tension anywhere in your body that's like?
A good question.
That
my dad went through a bladder cancer scare that he has been cleared of, and like since talking through a lot of that with him, sometimes I'm like, am I thinking about like my bladder or like my sex organs, like the bladder prostate area, because his dad had prostate cancer.
Oh, shit.
So when I talk about these things and he's going through it, I'm like, that's like one place I wonder if I start.
Yeah,
I can't tell if it's like mental or it's like a little slippery.
Yeah, I mean, there's in all of us, there are parts of our body that are contracted that we're not thinking about contracting it.
Okay.
Like people have tension in their neck and shoulders, or they have what's called knots or like trigger points.
This is the thing. When I sleep, because my dad's like, "Why are you waking up to pee in the middle of the night?" I'm like, "No, not really." So that's what makes me think like there is some sort of mental, physical connection. Because when I'm sleeping, it doesn't seem.
Yeah. So
that's not constant, but like it seems to happen more revolved when he's going through, because he went through like a cycle of things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I talked to him because I want to talk to him about it.
Yeah. You should.
Yeah. But it's a little uncomfortable for me. Like, when he starts talking about how he had a catheter and he's like wearing a bladder bag or something. I'm like, do you want, and he starts talking, I'm like, do you think I should be hearing about the details of all of this? He's like, we have a very open kind of cool type of way of communicating. But I do wonder if that like carries over where I start thinking about my own.
Yeah.
Areas down there.
Yeah. I mean, when just talking about it right now, what sensations do you
I feel like it's more relaxed.
Yeah.
Which is what all my retreats were based on, is like getting people to at first like an awareness and acceptance and action. And it's like usually when people come like allow themselves to be more aware, maybe verbally helps me, and then accept it. It seems that's where the action starts to take place.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awareness is most of it, right? Awareness. But my point on the parasitic tension is that, so it takes energy from your nervous system to contract a muscle. So if people have a lot of tension in their neck and shoulders or anywhere in their body, that's actually draining energy, because you're not sitting there like, I'm going to try to contract my muscles. You're not thinking it, but it's contracted. Yeah,
because it's hard to contract muscles.
Yeah, it's taking nervous system energy from you. So that's taking energy that could be utilized towards all the other things like digesting your food or repairing your cells. But that same thing happens, just as we have parasitic tension in our body, that same thing happens on an emotional level too. A lot of us have emotions that we've continued to push down, that become parasitic in its nature. It takes more energy from your system to push things down, to maintain that state of numbness, than it does to actually feel. Because, I mean, you have a child. When a child's born, they fucking feel everything when they come into the world. That's their default state. And then we go through different things, and we have all these layers of barnacles that get attached to us, and it becomes parasitic to our energy. My point being on the spinal energetics thing is that a lot of people, when they're Like when you go to sleep at night, if you've ever slept next to someone where they start twitching or their body starts moving in weird ways and their nervous system is trying to shut down all of those circuits that are constantly on, that are firing. And so because it's trying to conserve energy. So that spinal energetics thing, I think, is, for me, in my mind, I'm looking at it as like maybe those twitchings or those movements are parts of the body that are starting to, like, the electricity that's running all the time is starting to shut off. But that's my best way that I could explain it. I don't necessarily know because I've never experienced it.
Well, it brought up so many cool things, because literally like a few hours ago, I was walking down the same street with my daughter, and she was definitely feeling sad about something last night. And I was aiming to explain to her, I'm like, well, definitely, like, I want you, if you feel sad, I want you to feel it, so that you can, like, let it go and move past it. Because if you try to bury it, or if you try not to feel it, and, she's 8 years old, so I'm aiming to, and I think that's a great lesson in life. If you think you understand something, aim to explain it to like a 5-year-old, and then maybe you'll get a better grasp. But I kind of made the metaphor because we both had to go poop. I just had some coffee. Like, you don't want to, if the dog poops, if you wipe it under the rug, it might look fine there, but that's not going to, you're going to still have that poop there. Yeah. So I want you to feel sad if you feel sad, so that you can feel different, and you're not going to hold on to that. And I trust she understood. Yeah. And that's what I felt like a lot of that explanation of those potential orgasms on the bodywork table without being touched. Yeah. Your exploration of that reminded me of that walk and talk we had this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, in our culture, we just are so averse to emotions in general. Like, I see this, I'm not a parent, so I can't necessarily speak from that place. I'm excited for the time that I am, because I'll be able to put all of this stuff to, like, real test. I think that's the real test. But in general, when someone's feeling sadness, most people want to go over to this person and we want to say, like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Like,
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that.
And really what we're telling them is like, no, stop. No, I don't want you to feel sad, because we don't want someone to feel sad. But really what we're saying is, I don't want you to feel, and feeling is part of the human experience. So really what what you're saying to them is, I want you to be numb. And most of the time it's from people that aren't comfortable with emotions inside of themselves. And it's a big difference. How I teach it is, like, it's a small shift from, like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, to, like, it's okay to let yourself feel that, whatever it is. And I'll be here with you through that. Because none of us can go through, like, that very human experience for another person. But what we really want is to feel like we're not alone in it.
And we're not. What's most personal is most universal, and feeling is healing. And it is an honor to have a daughter to aim to learn this from, by witnessing her and encouraging her to feel. I haven't gotten her into, like, the crazy breath work that I do, but I think she understands that
she doesn't need to do it.
Yeah.
The reason why, like, children are so much more connected to the innate intelligence inside of them, that the reason why breathwork's becoming, like, this powerful, more like journey psychedelic style breathwork is because most humans are I'm speaking for the general population, a lot of them are so numb that they need this sort of sledgehammer experience to actually break through the walls of these armoring to get to that point. But a child, you don't need to take them through a breathwork session. You could do that just through co-regulation, just through giving them permission with your words or just your being.
Yeah, for sure. I want to go back to Stan Groff. How many people were at that session?
Probably about 70.
And was Stan there facilitating it?
Yeah.
He's still alive, is he not?
He's alive. I don't think he does sessions anymore.
That is so cool. I've some of the most major synchronicities in my life. And like now I keep a journal of synchronicities, and that is the schedule of this podcast. But I think tapped into like this synchronicity thing is real. Almost like half the times I started reading that book, holotropic.
Holotropic breathwork. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a powerful book.
Yeah, I've had some strange things. I mean, I have it somewhere. I don't think it's an audio. I'm really good at listening to audiobooks. It's a little more challenging for me to sit and read, literally.
I haven't read it in years. I need to reread it. I have it now in storage somewhere, but
I guess I want to hear more about that. Like, what was your interaction with Stan like? What was that group of people like? Is he still doing these things?
I don't think so. He's renamed it from holotropic breathwork to Groff breathwork.
Okay.
But he's not, I mean, he has a full institute. He's not in it anymore. I don't know. I think he's slowing down a little bit, but he's created quite a lineage for himself in a multitude of different areas, not just in the psychedelic realm. I mean, I think he has a whole area of Ashland that's like named after him.
Oh, wow.
Which is super epic. But that book is powerful. One of the things that's coming up when I'm thinking about that book was he explained that the people that are working with people during that breathwork session, he calls them midwives. Because it is sort of a rebirthing process. I mean, there's a rebirthing style of breath work, but a lot of people feel like they're going through this NDE, near-death experience, which is causing them to have a psychedelic experience. When you're breathing heavily for 3 hours, you're mimicking a state of trauma to the point of your body is, I mean, this is the best way that I know how to explain it, but your body is registering as if you're dying. So you're releasing DMT and you're having this psychedelic experience. And then when you're coming back, it's like which that brings up all the emotions, and you get the flashes of all the parts of your different life, this digestion process of all the things, all the little threads that you haven't really paid attention to in your life. That was my experience. And it did feel like I was rebirthed after that, which I don't recommend a long holotropic breathwork 3-hour long session to anyone that's like their first introduction to breathwork, because I think there are more subtle ways to get into it.
Yeah, more like a skydiving instead of bungee jumping. But look what I wrote: death. When you were describing it at first with the pop and the memories of your childhood, I was like, I literally wrote, that sounds like a death and rebirth.
Yeah.
And then without talking about it, you described it as like a near-death experience or like a death rebirth. So I think that's pretty epic. You got to experience that with him.
Yeah, it was. Was
that in San Francisco, you said? Or where
was that? In Oakland, California.
Oakland, nice. Yeah, Oakland and Berkeley are wild places for...
Yeah, I haven't been there since.
Oh, you haven't been? Okay.
2017.
Wow, man. Because it also reminds me, I was in Maui once, and I was pretty close to Ram Dass and people that were connected with him before he transitioned.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I was aiming to do the interview then, but he was sick.
Man,
I was like, I really want to, because he's been another like pillar of synchronicity for me in my life. And then like Stan Groff is like another one. I'm like, and he's still alive.
Yeah.
That guy, because it is legendary. It is a legend. There's some of the highest I've ever been, and I've done a lot of different things to feel high. Is certain times in breath work. Yeah. It just like hits me that I'm not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love it because there's no middleman, right? I mean, I'm all for psychedelics, and I've tried all the different types, and they've been very powerful for me. But just through breath work, I know that whatever's coming up for me is not based on any sort of external substance. It's based on my own respiration, and the etymology of that word, to respire, to re-spiral, or to re-spirit, it's coming up from my own spirit. And so the integration feels quicker for me. It's not like I have to... anytime you ingest anything, whether it's this coffee has an agenda within my system, right? It's taking me for a ride, whether it's coffee or ayahuasca or mushrooms. Those things have an agenda, and whether the agenda is bad or good, that's not the point. But with your breath, it is the agenda of your own, whether you want to call it from an Eastern standpoint, prana or pneuma. All of these words that they use, breath means spirit. Every time you take a breath, you are re-spiriting. In my opinion, you're breathing spirit, life force, energy back into your body, so you can show up right here, right now, from that place.
One thing I also has come up on previous interviews that you reminded me of is the when someone breathes out of their mouth, that's one thing, but when they're doing it in their sleep. And that's like, I know my youngest brother has 4 boys, I think 6 and under. And that's like something he is watching out for, to make sure they're not breathing through their mouth at night. Yeah. Because otherwise he might start using mouth tape, and he's doing all kinds of things where they have a mouthpiece in before going to bed and stuff. But anything to say about that? Yeah.
For those that want to dive deeper into it, go check out the book Breath by James Nestor. He does a good job like laying out the whole thing. But yeah, breathing through your mouth, there's a multitude of different issues that come with that. Like one of them just being is you're going to have more dental issues because you're not filtering bacteria and viruses through, which your nose does. So you're breathing it in and staying in your mouth. You're going to have issues like dental issues from that. It also will change the structure of your jaw. There's a multitude of different issues that come with mouth breathing. Not only are you're also communicating to your system that you're stressed when you're mouth breathing.
I know, while sleeping. It's kind of a crazy thing to think about.
So there's, he does a better job of laying out like the whole thing. I mean, what also is fascinating with that, have you heard of Weston Price? Mm-hmm. Like when I read his book, Nourishing Traditions, obviously you got all of the
these are gifts
nose
for you.
to tail. Oh,
some
thank
elk
you, brother.
Liver, heart and velvet, and then a tallow balm.
Dude, amazing.
I might try this tallow real quick while you tell me about your Weston
Dude,
Price.
I know, it's so dry here.
This is a great product for Colorado.
I've been in Austin where it's
this feels
humid.
good.
I'm excited. I actually was
taking one big scoop, and if you want to try some, that's the peaches and cream version.
Nice, dude. So I was at the store and I was looking like for some sort of moisturizer, but looking at the ingredients and everything, like,
there's the ingredients in that is 100% grass-fed, grass-finished bison kidney fat, organic emu oil, and then
dude, that feels so good.
Organic peach and vanilla. But it is really nice. It's really nice from her. I like it to put it on before these interviews. I think I glow a little bit more. There's like a little tallow glow for sure.
Hey, you look great.
But that stuff, take me for a workout. Have you ever used velvet, like the antler?
Oh, elk antler velvet.
Yes.
I ran into one of your buddies, I think Zoe.
Oh, Armando. Yep. Yeah.
And he was going to take me to a gym here, and he was like, "Yeah, I just took some of the elk antler velvet. That stuff boosts your testosterone."
Yeah, that would be like, so that would be it has IGF-1 in it, so it'd be like almost like nature's growth factor or nature's steroid. But the liver and the heart are awesome with micronutrients. But I love taking that before a workout. So
I'm excited.
While you're in town, try that. But yeah, so Weston A. Price teeth,
man,
nose breathing.
I was dating. This was maybe 2015. I was dating a woman who was a vegan, and she was trying to get me on that route, and I was just, it didn't never feel good for me. I remember, I think I saw you on you were the raw bra.
Yeah, right? We did some raw vegan exploration, actually.
Which can be powerful for cleansing, but at the same time, I did it for a little while, and I started losing my hair and just had all different types of issues. And I found Weston Price, who was a dentist, who was studying people's, mouth health for better. I don't know exactly, but his understanding of all of the white devils, the sugar, the flour, all of those were causing a tremendous amount of issues with our teeth, with our jaw. It's basically telling our body that we're in a stress state all the time. And that was my introduction to nose to tail eating, fermenting foods. And then it's cool to see because I remember him talking about that lack of nutrients actually also causes issues within our mouth, which will change our jaw structure, which will cause mouth breathing as well. So yeah, there's some ties there, but I tape my mouth every night when I go to sleep.
You do?
Tape my mouth every night.
How do you do that? What's your shirt? Like, are you using just a piece of tape?
I mean, there's so many different mouth tape.
Yeah, I have.
brands.
Do you use a specific brand?
I just use like a little piece of medical tape.
Okay.
I just cut a little strip off. And at this point, I don't need to like fully tape my mouth. I just put a little piece just to kind of as a reminder to just like keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
But yeah, I'll use the nostril openers too.
With the metal one, like the ones that are magnetic, or
I've tried them all. I've tried the strips, the magnetic ones. You can
which one do you like the best, or which one do you use?
I just use the strips.
Okay.
They're easier. I've tried the metal ones and they're great too. I mean, they all do the same thing. You can also get nostril openers on Amazon, which are little like tubes that you can put in your nose that literally open up your nostrils. You feel like you have shotguns for nostrils. If you want to test that too, that's a good one while you're running or while you're sleeping.
And do you use those as well?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How are we doing on time, by the way? I was just gotten lost. I usually keep them between.
You're probably about 50 minutes in. Right?
Okay, cool. I usually aim to keep them between 44 minutes, an hour, and 11.
Cool.
As a creative constraint.
Yeah.
So to go back even farther, Sedona, Austin, where else have you lived? Big Island?
Big Island. I lived in Ashland, Oregon.
Man, okay.
Lived in Ashland.
Just shipped a nice package of tallow to my friend Jordan Walker. I don't know if you know him. To Ashland today, right before this. So
yeah,
I want to get him on the show.
2016, so it was a while ago. I was running a cannabis farm
in
Ashland. This was a whole other lifetime. But I lived Sedona, Austin, Ashland, Oregon, Big Island. I was born like right outside of Laguna Beach, California.
Where when you say right outside?
Lake Forest.
Okay. Yeah.
Like Mission Viejo area.
Mm-hmm.
Then my parents moved my dad went to rehab in Arizona when I was like 8 or so. And so he went to rehab there. My mom and I were still in California. He got clean, got a job, invited me and my mom to start a new life in Arizona, which I was pretty pissed about at the time because, I mean, growing up in Southern California, my friends, the ocean, going to Phoenix where it's like concrete jungle, 115 out. But as I got older, as soon as I got a car and I was able to kind of explore northern Arizona and the desert. It's one of my favorite places. It's a magical place. It really is.
How are your parents now?
They're still struggling, man.
Specifically?
No. Well, so my parents got clean from those hard drugs like when I was, I don't know, pretty young, anywhere from 8 to 12. I think they still struggled with it, but I watched them, specifically my mom, switch to prescription medications.
That's a slippery one.
My dad moved to alcohol. I mean, he was the youngest of 8, worked on a cattle farm in Nebraska, is such a hard worker. He built a whole business for himself. He's successful, but he's workaholic, alcoholic. And my mom is still struggling. She's definitely struggling. And yeah, I got a call maybe about a year ago. It actually was in the middle of me holding a training, and she's in the hospital from overdose, combining with alcohol, prescription meds, and she passed the phone to the doctor, and I talked to the doctor, and he's letting me know what's going on. Her blood he basically told me, he's like, her blood pressure was that of someone who's like dead. Mm-hmm. And I remember him saying to me, I don't even really know like how she's even breathing right now. And at that point in time, it's like, wow, I might have created this or gone down this whole path just to help them. And maybe they never, I've offered, like I have over almost 3,000 practitioners worldwide, and practitioners in Arizona. I've offered her to come to the training. I've tried to, and I've come from a place of trying to fix her, and I've finally kind of let that go. It's been, there's a multitude of things in there. I think a lot of times the thing that we create is the thing that we need the most. Probably I need for myself, or we create it for those that are the closest to us. But I also have made peace with, like, maybe she never actually does it. Maybe, and how can I love her anyways? It's been a journey for me. Still is. I'm still in it.
The best way, my understanding of the best way of learning something is to teach it.
Yeah.
And I do believe that we teach what we want to learn the most.
100%, man.
Especially someone that's aligned.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it.
It is the thing that I've needed the most. Even, I mean, I don't know how we're doing on time, but
no rush. I know. That's just a aim. So no rush.
So when I was, I don't know, maybe 18 or 17, I was having some back pain, and I went to the doctor. They did some x-rays, and they're like, you have a little bit of scoliosis in your thoracic spine. And I'm like, okay, that was the thing that got me into body work. Was like, okay, if I go to school for this, that means I'm going to receive a ton of different body work. I'm going to receive all these different things. And maybe if I go learn this to do it for other people, maybe I'll also receive it and I'll be immersed in that area, and that will help me heal. And then flash forward to that Stan Groff session where I had this pop in my thoracic spine. And, you know, if you are familiar with the chakra system, or chakra system in your nervous system is the same thing. You have nerve bundles, nerve ganglia is what they call it, at all those different centers. But your solar plexus, or your like kind of adrenal center, or your fire center, my parents were addicted to stimulants, and that's a false sense of fire. And they were, you know, utilizing when I was inside of them, right? And before conception and even after. So I've done a lot of work to realize that thing that was passed down to me, that issue or that degenerative disease, if you will, was the thing that led me down this route. That has been the driving force for me in my journey.
Well, I'm happy you're doing it, and I'm excited to learn more. Even your breathwork protocol was quite inspiring to me. Yeah. Because I do all kinds of little experiments, but I haven't made it as consistently focusing on a session with nose only and exhale only for a while. And I see the power in that, how that could be really good for me to do. Yeah.
And beyond all the specifics, like, there's so many different types. Really, what I've had the realization around is I'm not necessarily teaching breath work. Breath is just a tool for connection. And I think that, like, so many people, you know, that are in the healing arts industry, or there's this term healing, and everyone's searching for healing. And oftentimes when we're searching for healing, we're creating the opposing force that says there's something wrong with us. And I see a lot of people that are on their healing journey that are putting a tremendous amount of pressure on themselves, that are actually kind of subtly relating to themselves as if something's broken or wrong with them. So for me, the shift's been stop focusing on healing, start focusing on connection. Because connection, or healing, is a byproduct of connection. When you're deeply connected to your body, healing is something that you're already doing. When you're connected to the people around you, healing is something that's naturally going to happen. You're co-regulating with each other. When you're connected to your food, healing is naturally going to be a byproduct of that. Stop focusing on healing, because it's like you don't go to a tree and say, okay, how are you going to heal? It's just something that it's doing. Your body is repairing itself every day. It's just how good is it doing it? And the more connected, the more integrated your system is how well it's going to be healing. And so breath is just a tool that I look at to connect your mind back to your body, because it's the thing that's controlling your nervous system the most. And your nervous system is that bridge between your mind and your body. And the same disconnect that humanity is experiencing between themselves and nature, or themselves and their neighbors, or themselves and their food, that same disconnect is happening inside of your body. And so I look at breathwork as just one tool to help people reconnect.
Man, how do people, what's the best way for people to reach out to you? Especially, you know, there's lots of people in Boulder that might listen to this.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram. My personal handle is Jaggers, JR, like Jaggers Jr. If you want to learn more about any of the things that we offer, somaticbreathwork.com. You can find us on Instagram, Somatic Release, YouTube. We just hit over 1 million subscribers, which is
on your YouTube?
On my YouTube.
Wow, that's not easy. I have a lot of friends that are on YouTube, but over 1 million subscribers? Dang.
It grew fast.
And what's that handle?
Somatic Breathwork.
Gosh,
check us
congratulations, man. That's probably a nice tool for your success.
It's a cool kind of, I mean, yeah, it's a vanity metric, but at the same time, to me, when I look at it, it just shows how much the world is desiring this type of stuff, right? The last thing I'll say too is fascinating because we experienced some virality when we started showcasing some of the clips of people going through emotional releases or going through these type of physical releases. And I was always against kind of putting that out there because people probably like, is it a cult or what's actually going on? Or there's a lot of judgment, but we experienced a massive amount of virality and a ton of messages overnight. Now I started looking at these messages and probably 80% of them weren't in English. And I'm translating them, and almost all the messages, what they were saying is, I don't know what's going on in this video, but I need this. And for me, it made me realize the global aspect of this work, because I post videos of me teaching, and not everybody speaks English, right? But we all speak the language of emotions, and we're all human. And through that, I think we realize that we're a lot more similar than we are different.
Well, I can somewhat relate to that because I've been making videos for, 20 years now, publicly.
Yeah.
And the most viral video ever by far, it was the Om Baby video. Did you see that one? Where my daughter was basically screaming and crying in a live video I did. All of a sudden, she went from sleeping and then she woke up and started screaming and crying. She was like 6 weeks old. I go, Om. And then like as the Om goes on, she falls asleep. And I re-uploaded that 42-second clip, and it was getting 1 million views per hour on my Facebook for about 30 hours. And then every news outlet in the world just re-uploaded it, so it got all dispersed.
Yeah.
But I hear Om as the universal resonance or something, and I felt like that was kind of proof of it.
Yeah.
There's some, and we did that. I Om to her when she was in the womb as well.
Yeah.
And there's something there.
It's co-regulation. Children they don't know how to regulate themselves. When they're feeling something, they're naturally plugged into you. And so when you're oming, you're relaxing yourself. And so she's just plugging into your nervous system, and it's a reminder that I'm safe. Dad's around and he's relaxed. And so everything's okay.
It goes back to like the core tenet of what you were explaining earlier of how if you want to relax, the out breath.
Yeah, the out breath.
And I've spent a lot of time in the sauna recently here. We should go to Ember and Ice. I had those guys on the show. When I'm at the edge, sometimes I'll put 15 minutes in, and sometimes it's like 200 degrees or more. Those last few minutes are getting pretty tough for me. And what I'll typically do is Om. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, 3 minutes, I'm good. But that long out breath is what gets me through this induced stress.
Yeah. I mean, even with the out breath testing, like making some sound, I mean, Andrew Huberman's published a bunch of research on it. Vocal sighing, it relaxes your vagus nerve. It sends yourself into a relaxed state. Like sound helps move energy more than anything. Why do they tell you when you're angry, go out to the forest and yell as loud as you can?
This is now we're getting into another simple concept that I think people could use a lot more of. Because can someone imagine someone having sex or giving birth without making a sound?
Yeah, it's the worst. Have you ever had sex and everyone's like, just you're holding back your sound? Try syncing your breath with your partner and also making sound together. I guarantee it will intensify the experience
and prolong it.
Absolutely.
And I do think for someone that's in pain or going through a painful experience, maybe it's even self-induced. Maybe you need to fix something on your body. I have, like, if it was Davina, I'm telling her you can yell through this experience. Like, there's sometimes I've been in pain, but when I yell, it almost becomes a little bit more pleasurable.
Yeah.
And some people are scared to yell.
Yeah. Yeah. Sound helps move energy more than anything.
Well, I trust we
could flow for probably another hour.
Stresses induced and stay safe and have a great time and keep that upward spiral going. And we could talk for hours and hours, and maybe we'll do that at the sauna and the creek. How long are you going to be here in Boulder for?
I'll be here for at least a month, but who knows? Maybe I'll be here longer. We'll see.
And the Big Island, and we might need to talk more about that. Any top recommendations? I mean, I've been there a couple times, but was there anything? The dolphin swimming sounds.
Two-step is great. South of Kealakekua Bay. Captain Cook area, Green Sands Beach.
I don't think I've gone there yet.
Green Sands.
I've heard a lot about it.
Emerald sand. I was like the farmer's market in Puna. Uncle Robert's is rad. You'll be on the Hilo. You'll be on the Hilo side.
Yeah.
Obviously, the volcano.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's erupting. See, last time I was there,
wow.
It was not, the lava was not flowing, which people were stoked about the air quality. But I want to see some lava if I can.
Yeah, you can't go at night.
Okay,
because you'll be able to see the glow. Mauna Kea, biggest mountain. There's so many.
Do that. I know the Big Island's crazy.
Big Island has so much cool stuff, man. Wherever you are, too, it's rad.
Yeah. Well, Boulder, I feel very similarly about, and about you. We'll keep on breathing big in Boulder and breaking normal.
Let's do it.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.